It is brought to you by you. If you'd like to support the show, head over to patreon.com/sidescrollers. It's time for Side Scrollers on YouTube.com with me, Stuttering Craig. I like movies that have sand in them. Wow.
He doesn't like it in his mouth.
And producer extraordinaire, Travis Key.
I don't like the texture in my mouth.
What? And brought to you by you, the G2 community at patreon.com/sidescrollers. And now, broadcasting from our homes, it's time for the #1 gaming and entertainment podcast on planet Earth. It's time for Side Scrollers.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome on out to Side Scrollers on YouTube.com and Rumble.com and Twitch and Kick and Spotify and now on X. What is going on, everybody? Hi, I'm Stuttering Craig. Happy Tuesday to you. Are you having a good day? Are you? Of course you are, man. It's great to hang out with you guys here every Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time. Joining me today, man, I'm outnumbered in a major way. First, by Blabs. Hello, Blabs.
Hello, there are more tits than balls today.
Wow, just going right in on it, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's good.
This never happens.
Okay, sounds good. Yes, it is Ladies' Day here on the channel. And you know what? Just for today, I too will identify as a lady. Hello, Desiree. Great to see you.
Lady Craig.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm great. Glad to be here. Girl power.
Girl power indeed. Let's go. Represent. Let's go, girl power. All right.
How's it feel being a female today, Craig?
Well, the last 10 seconds have been extremely liberating. And I got to be honest. You know what? No, I'm back to a guy. I think I am. I'm back to a guy.
He's like, I'm over it already.
I am. It was way too many hormones, and it was way too much. And I started my period in there. It was really rough, man. I got to be honest. What is? I don't even know what that. No, I'm still learning as a woman.
I hope you know about that. You got kids.
Still learning as a woman. But speaking of women, let's introduce the first time on the show, Magick Moonshot. Uh-oh.
I was muted.
Oh, there you go.
Where'd she go?
It's great to be here. I have been a woman for more than 10 seconds, so I already have you beat, Craig, in that sense.
Well, I'm glad you're hanging out with us today. We get to tell your story today and hear all about it. It's going to be great. All right. Let's freaking go. So, look, we got a lot going on today. Of course, I want to remind you guys we are live over on Rumble at rumble.com/sidescrollers. Hit that follow button over there as we approach 4,000 followers over there. Why do we love it? It's all organic, and that's awesome. We also have a Twitter account or an X account at SidescrollerPod, which you can actually watch the show live over there on a day-to-day basis too, because we're casting that net wide, right, Blabs?
Yes.
Yes.
So wide.
So wide. So wide. We also have an Instagram, right?
Yeah, we passed 600 yesterday. Now we're already at 611. And we've been posting clips over there and memes over there. So if you're not following us, you should be following us.
And if we stream over there, we'd stream there too. We're going to stream everywhere. Anywhere and everywhere.
Make it happen.
Including Kick at kick.com/sidescrollers. New to our friends over there, but we have we're growing like a weed over there, which is great. So make sure you guys follow us over on Kick if that's your sort of thing, which is great. Also, major news. Well, I guess not major news, but great news. Great news. I woke up this morning. Our goal by the end of the year was to pass 50,000 subscribers. But my friends, last night, as we woke up this morning, Side Scrollers has passed 50,000 subscribers on YouTube. It is listen, we're going to need to do some sort of fun celebration or something. We are currently sitting at 50,136 subscribers. So if you're new, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button as we grow. Maybe, dare I say, the fastest gaming and entertainment podcast on the internet, fastest growing. I bet that'd be better if I said it like that. But fastest growing, maybe, perhaps. I don't know. Who knows? It's good.
Craig, can I play my fanfare for you?
Yes. Let's go.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Appreciate that. It's excellent. Excellent to be here on the 50K club, which is good. And once again, we can't do this without you guys. We can't do it without everybody tuning in and watching clips and sharing those clips and commenting. Commenting is huge. Man, it's so huge on YouTube. I'm pretty sure comments are weighed way more than anything else on YouTube. The liking and stuff is great. Subscribing is even better. But the comments, man, you guys post comments. It gets conversation going, gets engagement going. YouTube seems to like that. It's weird. So, yeah, man, awesome stuff. We're very, very excited for that. So let's see if we can fill up that wall with some red today for those 50s, man. That'd be great. And as always, we are trying to get to 300 likes every single episode. So if you guys are tuning in, whether it's live or on the archive, make sure you guys hit the thumbs up button. We'd greatly appreciate that. And we also try to get to 20 memberships every single episode. So let's see if we can do that today. Tomorrow on the show, we'll have Adam and Flawed because Wednesdays are insane. It's Oil and Water Wednesday, which is great. Coming up on Thursday, we got a lovely one-on-one, which is going to be great with John Graham, the creator of Arby and the Chief. Now, Magick, do you remember the show Arby and the Chief from way back in the day on machinima.com? Do you remember that?
Was that before like Red versus Blue and stuff? I don't think I ever watched Arby and the Chief, but I've heard of it.
Okay, so Arby and the Chief was like a trendsetter back in the day. And we had John on a few months ago. And in the middle of the show, my power went out and it just stopped. So we get to have him on Thursday and dig into internet history and all sorts of stuff. So if you're a fan of the old school Arby and the Chief, you want to be here for that, or old school internet, man. We're going to talk old school internet, which is great. Then on Friday, Melanie Mack will be returning, which will be great. Looking forward to having Melanie back on after a couple-week hiatus dealing with family stuff. So she'll be joining us on Friday. If you'd like to see me play Mario Wonder, man, I'm having so much fun with that. Des, Magick, have y'all played Mario Wonder at all?
No.
I'm playing it with my family. It's fun.
Is it not the most fun?
Really trippy. Like, definitely Mario ate some different mushrooms this time around. It's like, it is really weird, but I like it though. It's fun. What do you think about in comparison to the last Mario side scroller game?
Okay, so the new Super Mario U franchise is kind of what you're talking about. And there was a weightiness to that game. I'm a Mario master, just so you know, Magick. I need to preface this.
Noted.
Right. Mario master. They call me Platform Jesus. Right. I'm really good at platforming games. Moving from one side of the screen to the other side of the screen, left to right, and getting there by jumping. I'm excellent at it. This game has a movement in it that is a lot different than the Super Mario Brothers U. There's actually been some people have been diagramming the movement in it, and there's actual noticeable differences between the two, and it feels very precise compared to the other Mario games, or at least the previous Mario U games, the new games. So I love this game. I love the graphics, the graphical look of it. I love the music of it. I love that you have singing and dancing piranha plants. I love that there's extreme difficulty for super hardcore Mario nerds like me at later levels. I love that there's things to discover. I'm having so much fun playing it, and I feel like I'm 11 years old playing it, which is the best thing about it. So, yes, I love everything about Mario Wonder. So everyone go watch me play it over on the Side Scrollers Plays channel about 2 o'clock this afternoon, 2 o'clock Central Time. So if you're manning up on your watches, if you're taking a look at your phone, it's at about 3 hours from now. I'll be over there on the Side Scrollers Plays channel, a totally separate channel than this channel. So yeah, there we go. Lots of good stuff going on, man. I'm really excited to have everybody on today. I'm excited to have Magick. Got a great chat flowing today, which is wonderful. And the new reviews came in early with the $4.99. Says, after watching you play Mario Wonder, I had to go out and buy the game myself. It's seriously so much fun.
Hi, Meg.
Megan, thank you very much. Appreciate that. That is extremely awesome. And I'm glad my love can translate through the screen to you guys, which is great. Evan, my boy, came in with the $13.99 Canadian super chat. Says 50K, road to 100K. No, Evan. Road to 1,000,000K. What?
1,000,000K, wow.
That's right, Evan.
That's huge.
Screw off, PewDiePie. And Paul Denton came in and says Razor Fist is looking pretty today and very good at piano.
I need sunglasses though, right? I don't have
God.
sunglasses. You saw I was wearing sunglasses.
I'll tell you,
Right?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We need to get some aviators on you,
Some
Des.
sunnies.
Yeah.
We need to have you on next Tuesday, because on Tuesday on Halloween we're gonna have we're gonna be doing a cosplay stream. We're gonna have a bunch of cosplayers, and I'm gonna be cosplaying as Razor Fist, but I think you'd actually do a better job of it if you put on some aviators. Which would be great.
I have aviators.
There you go.
I do.
Love that. All right, let's get into it. Lots to talk about, including a leak from Mortal Kombat today. We're going to be talking about a voice actor who's upset he can't get any roles because of things he complained about. We're gonna have the story of Magic Moon and her cancellation a little bit later, as well as a bunch of quick hits, including the latest Apex trailer, which is absolutely ridiculous. Some Spider-Man 2 fun glitches, and Blab really wants to talk about an indie game that she likes. So
Listen, Magic likes it too, and
Yeah.
I
Well,
thought it'd be fun to
Blabs
talk
is
about
right.
together.
we'll talk about it. I promise you that.
Girl power.
Listen, Craig, play it with us, and then we'll see.
Hey,
I have codes. I have all the codes, man. You want a code? I got a code for you.
girl.
I feel like a drug dealer right now. I got a code. You want one?
Yeah, no, you
It's
have
free.
like a fur coat and a pinky ring and some hose in the back. Like, what's going on? Just saying.
Not right now.
You can make that happen, which is great. Where's my money? Give me my money. All right, let's get into it. It's time for my favorite segment, your favorite segment, everybody in the world's favorite segment. It's time for Hard News. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Paul. Here we go. We'll get into the news today. Now, we're just going to do a couple quick hits today, because the real news is when I want to talk about Magic story, which we're going to get into that here in a little bit. So some quick hits first to start. As you guys know, I haven't played Mortal Kombat 1, but I've watched a lot of Mortal Kombat 1, and it looks super fun. And I realize that the audience on this panel may not be the biggest Mortal Kombat fans, but I feel like those watching may be interested in this.
I was a big fan back in the day, actually.
Oh yeah, who's your favorite fighter?
I liked Katana and Melina. I liked all the girls.
Girl power. Let's
I
go.
just also like the girls. Sonya.
I want to let you know that I also just now feel I am a girl again. So congratulations. I love Shiva.
And it matches your name.
That's right. Oh, thank you very much. Did you change all people out?
I changed it when we first started.
Why did you do that?
Because you said you identify as a female. I was like,
Okay.
all right.
Craig added in. Sounds good. Let's go. Watch how quickly I can just pop those off. Bam. There you go.
Aw.
Slap right to midcourt. Magic, did you ever play Mortal Kombat at all growing up?
I didn't. I mean, I'm familiar with it, but fighting game. I always focus on like FPS games. Like, well, I mean, I started off with Mario, like on the original, the Nintendo and the NES system. I started off doing a lot of Mario and stuff like that. But then I graduated to Xbox and then focused on shooters. So
Wait.
I know fighting games or 1v1s, but I've never really played it.
So you went from Nintendo to Xbox, like the original NES to Xbox?
Well,
Or did
Nintendo
you-
64 was in the middle. So
Okay.
that was like the best Christmas ever was when my dad got us the Nintendo 64. And we spent a lot of years there. And then from there was a jump straight to the Xbox.
Okay, so you did have the gradual progression.
A little
from,
bit.
Okay. Just
We didn't have like every system, right? We skipped a couple along the way. Like we never had the Super Nintendo, but like our neighbors did. So we always wanted to go over to their house when they had the Super Nintendo. But
Well, Magic, we need to get you a Super Nintendo so you can
Super
understand
Nintendo,
how
yes.
great. Yes, that you're right, Des. It is the
Mhm.
best video game, just raw video game console ever made. I mean, just
Wow.
straight video games. It's spectacular. But I'm also old as shit. So the new Mortal Kombat 1 was released a couple months ago, and it's had its ups and downs. A lot of people have liked it, a lot of people have not. But they've planned a bunch of DLC for this game. A lot of additional characters that are coming on the way. And one of the voice actors for the game accidentally leaked a potential major spoiler for an upcoming character, which is interesting. Did anybody see Terminator 2 back in the day with Arnold?
To the chopper.
No,
Actually, my fiance has been after me to watch all the Terminator movies because I've never saw any of them, which is
okay. Magic, you haven't seen
Weird.
Terminator 2?
I haven't. I would have probably known that one and get to the chopper line as well. That's it.
But I mean, that's just a meme at this point, right? But the enemy, the bad guy in that movie, is the T-1000, and you've probably seen.
Isn't that a calculator?
No, that's the TI-82.
Close enough.
It's the TI-82, the Texas Instruments 82. But
It's
this was
engraved in your head, isn't that?
Yes.
You
I
knew
had
it
one.
right away. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
I had
God,
one.
Math.
Hey, if you had a TI-82 or a TI-83 growing up, going through high school, let me know in the chat because I guarantee everybody did. But the T-1000 was this guy. Where is he? Here we go, right there. Bam. This is the guy. Have you seen this guy before in any sort of anything? Does this look familiar at all? This at all? No, nothing.
A
No.
little bit.
So-
He's got something in his face.
Yeah, it's a bullet. He got shot in the face, and this was like huge for back in the day. Anyways, the graphic, the CGI for this back in like 1992 was spectacular, and honestly, still really good today. But he had this like weird, like silver morphing thing, and he'd morph into different people, and it was kind of like Shang Tsung almost, if I really think about it, who is the morpher guy in Mortal Kombat. But according to a little interview here had on this Dan Allen show over on Reddit, we found this clip. He, the voice actor for Reptile, apparently leaked that the T-1000 is going to be a playable character. Which, hey, I love hearing this. Let's take a listen to this really quick, if we can have the volume.
Ronda Rousey in the green room of Warner Brothers, and
Oh my
like
God.
she, like she'd be going in for Dude, that green room was cool, man. I mean, there would be like
Crazy.
Robert Patrick was in there for the 2000. God, who else?
T-1000, yeah, damn. The DLC characters are insane in that game.
Yeah, the DLC
Man.
characters. The guy that played
They had
RoboCop,
Alien.
I mean,
They
it was-
had.
So he's talking about the T-1000 appearing in the next Mortal Kombat, which I think is actually, for some reason, like in the previous Mortal Kombat, I think they did have the Terminator, they had RoboCop, they've had all these crazy ass sci-fi characters, and I think the T-1000 is actually a pretty good fit for that game. So for those who care, now you know. Congratulations. Any thoughts on Mortal Kombat? Has anybody plan on playing Mortal Kombat, or Magic? You said you're not a huge fighter.
No, not so much. But I will say that I'm not gonna steal the conversation for later. But Apex Legends added these like special finishers that are very Mortal Kombat-esque, in my opinion. That are much more like dramatic, graphic. Obviously, still staying with like the teen rating and stuff. So I think we're seeing a little bit of that crossover from Mortal Kombat is kind of sinking into Apex a little bit.
Yes. Apex, yeah, we're definitely going to get into Apex a little bit later, which, by the way, if you ever want to play Apex, you just let me know.
I'm ready. I'm a
He
Lifeline
actually
main,
saves
so
lives.
I get all the reses.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
Nice.
heck yeah.
Nice. You know who you shouldn't play with?
What's that?
Labs.
I'm
Oh.
actually decent, thank you very much. He just, the one time I play after not playing like months and months on end is with Craig, so now he just thinks I'm shit.
No, I know your shit.
You don't watch me play, Craig. How would you know?
Because I played with you, and all you
Like
did
I
was
said,
run into
that
bullets.
one time that I hadn't played in months on end, I was shit, and now I've been playing again, and I'm not so shit anymore. I have my
Okay.
moments.
Well, maybe we should revisit that again.
Yes.
And see if, because there were times where I thought you saw bullets and you literally just ran right into them. You're like, hey, there they are.
Yeah,
Just
I was
taking one for the
testing-
team.
I was
Whoa.
testing my armor. Yeah, you know what? Maybe I can just be like the dummy and, take one for team as you guys get the win and everything. I'll be the bait. I'm fine with that. I used to do that in Call of Duty all the time when we ended up winning.
Good for you, Blabs. Way to be way to take one for the team. There you go. Magnum came in with the $20 super chat. Let's go, Magnum. Thank you very much. That is huge and massive, and we appreciate that greatly. He says, dude, the roller gardens at NPLS. I studied fatalities so I could whoop the old people. Let's go, Magnum. Congratulations. Way to go. Hey, study those fatalities. Just don't do them in real life. That's all. That's the biggest thing.
Do you
Thank so
remember
much,
when
Magnum.
Mortal Kombat came out and like how the craziness that caused?
Yes.
How like scared. I actually didn't own it, so I could only play it when I was at my friend's house. But it
Did
was like
you-
it was really like the fatalities were like something. It was a big deal.
So I showed Mortal Kombat to she's 11 now. I think I showed it to her when she was 10. Mortal Kombat 1 to my daughter. And I was like, listen, I'm going to show you this. And this got a lot of people really upset. And this actually caused, since I explained to her like the idea of like the ratings board of like, there's T for teen games and there's M games and games that for kids and stuff. And this game pretty much caused it. And I showed her Sub-Zero's fatality where he rips off the head and he holds it. And she was like, that doesn't even look real. Why are people like upset about that?
I know.
It's so crazy.
Now, I know my kids too are like, it's nothing.
It's like lame.
It's kind of sad that, what I mean? It's like, oh, we were so innocent and pure.
Well, I mean, when you look at it in retrospect, it's so pixelated, it's blocky, it's
I know.
It looks cool, right? It looks really, really cool. And it's just amazing to see the jump to conclusion that was made, that politicians made back in the day of like, oh my gosh, you're gonna see kids ripping off other kids' heads. It's ridiculous,
Mm-hmm.
Which, for the record, I don't know if we ever saw any kids ripping any other kids' heads off from Mortal Kombat. But
we're not asking anyone to try it either. We have to say that.
Maybe we did see somebody breathe flame onto somebody and have them become a skeleton, but perhaps maybe, I don't know, who knows. RL Dog.
Alcohol or something?
No, that's a fatality on the game, Blabs.
Oh.
Yeah. We got to get you playing some video games, Blabs.
I don't play Mortal Kombat.
Oh, really? I couldn't tell. RL Dog came in with the membership for 5 months. I had the Mario game on my TI-83 in high school. Let's go, RL Dog.
Yeah, that was a thing, wasn't it? The game was on the calculator.
All the games were on the calculator.
Well, the thing was, I had a different calculator in high school from everybody else because I bought my own. And so I was the one who didn't have the Mario stuff on my calculator. I was a sad little girl.
You know what the best game on the calculator was?
Where you turned it upside down, you wrote hello?
No. That was boobs.
No, I was going to say that's boobs.
No, boobs, that's true. Yeah, boobs. Was it 7 or something?
Yeah. Is 800875355. There you go.
Wow,
Yeah.
he's got that remembered. He's like, ah.
Well, it's Sleep Speak.
That's
What about that?
That's the longer version. So
Yeah.
It's good.
That's the harder one.
No, the best game on the TI-83 was Snake. just the idea of going around and making your snake as long as you possibly could. I love that game. That was great. Hal came in with the 5. Says, well, Robert Patrick has played other roles. Maybe it'll be the coach from the faculty. I don't think, Hal, that the faculty has had much cultural impact or really fits into the Mortal Kombat universe. I'm just going to throw it out there. But thank you, Hal. Appreciate that. Dan Evil Robot says it makes sense the T-1000 is a new DLC because both the Terminator and RoboCop were in the last Mortal Kombat DLC. And yes, I played Mortal Kombat 1 and love it. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it. Yeah, I do agree. I think it fits the world very well. John came in with the 5. Says, there were leaks that for Mortal Kombat that Doom Guy, Harley Quinn, and Deathstroke are in DLC Pack 2. What? Doom Guy? That's
Harley
cool.
Quinn?
I mean, Harley Quinn makes sense. Absolutely.
I didn't know they had the IP for that. Like the rights.
Well, I mean, you pay for the rights. That's an investment. You pay the licensing fees, and then you rake in that monies from that DLC. That's crazy. Doom Guy is the craziest one there, John. Thank you very much. All right, let's go to our next story, and for this one, we go to Bounding into Comics. And then I'll read the headline here, and then we'll kind of dig into the story a little bit. As Western voice actor Sung Won, who is a YouTuber, ProZD, Cho, unhappy reaping what he sowed, complains that industry is now segregated roles by race. And yet another instance of identity politicians being scorned, or politics being scorned by the very ideology they promote. After having himself championed such authentic casting practices, English language voice actor Sung Won Chow has now found himself offended by the Western entertainment industries turning towards racially segregating their roles available. So Cho has been in roles such as One Piece and God of War. God of War Ragnarok expressed his frustrations towards this rising trend via a now deleted Twitter thread, originally shared to his personal account on October 23rd. Beginning his thoughts, Cho related, "I got an audition for a prominent cartoon where I was sent just the Asian character. Looking through the rest, I told my agent, 'Hey, I'm happy to read for this, but can I read for some of the others?' To which I was told, all those characters are drawn as white, so no." To add extra insult to injury, the character I got sent was labeled Middle Eastern, Southeast, and Southern Asian because, that's all the same, right? Continued the English voice of Holst in Fire Emblem Warriors. So he's just continuing. He says, "You can't just lump them all into one. My agent told me that's just how some major studios are doing it now." So there you go. It's kind of like he complained about it, and now all of a sudden he can't get any roles. Your
That's
thoughts?
funny. It reminds me of that meme. Congratulations, you played yourself. Because that's literally what just happened to him. And also, I gotta say, I like his collection behind him. I don't know what it was, but it looked cool.
Oh, noted. Thank you, Blabs.
Yeah.
Do you think that this is an overreach by the major casting studios to where we're now segregating roles based off of race? Magic, what are your thoughts?
I think it's tough. I mean, obviously, like the Snow White controversy, I think comes to mind when you're talking about like roles, and some character roles, like we already have this idea of what they would look like, and so I think to like specifically go away from that tradition for the sake of diversity, I think is a dangerous habit to start. But like if it's new and original characters, why not reinvent the script so that they can fit the nationality or ethnicity of the character that wants to play the part, or that you want to play that part?
Des, your thoughts?
I mean, I don't know. It's just voice. You can really make your voice, really good voice actors can sound all different kinds of ways and do all kinds of accents. So I don't know about, I mean, I do understand like feeling like maybe that's a little like limiting it, but if you really want maybe an authentic voice and you want to only have people from that background, I don't think that's wrong. First of all, I think anybody can do what they want to do. If it's studio can decide what they want to do, but do I think it's unfair? I mean, I do think it's a little different when it comes to voice because you're not seeing the person, and I think that you can, you can definitely, people who are talented can make their voice sound lots of different ways. But can I just say though, I really hate it in Hollywood when they try and do Southern accents because they never do it right. It's so frustrating to me. So having said that, I do get very annoyed when someone with a Southern accent tries, and they always sound like the same redneck hillbilly voice. It's not accurate. So
the Southern drawl,
Southern drawl.
Sometimes you just need the real thing.
I think the Southern drawl is when spoken authentically is one of the most charming voices ever. I love the Southern drawl. I love especially like when you get a real southern lady who's out there and she's doing it, she's so polite. I love the Southern. Listen,
like
it's okay.
Gone with the Wind here.
Oh man, I think that yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's different
great.
kinds of Southern accents too. Like I lived in Birmingham and Alabama. That's a very different Southern accent than like from North Carolina mountains, from Tallahassee where I'm at, from Charleston. They're very, very, there's lots of different Southern accents. But I feel like Hollywood always goes to like this, like, "Hey y'all, how you doing?" Like this super duper, blah, 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 and it's like it's so grating.
Oh, bless your heart.
Yeah,
Bless your heart.
Bless your heart.
Bless your heart.
I do say bless your heart sometimes, actually. I'm not gonna lie.
But you don't say it,
Oh no, I say it exactly intended in the way where it's like, bless her heart. Poor girl.
I don't know. When it comes to voice acting, I think anyone can play any type of role. I mean, look at the whole thing with Ashley Eckstein. She was the original voice of Ahsoka Tano, and they were literally like saying, "Oh, she can't play in the live action. She's not orange." I'm like, what the hell? Ahsoka's an alien. Anyone can play that. Like, was amazing to me, like the mind that people just go to. So yeah, I feel like this guy kind of played himself 100% because he's like, we should have designated parts, and now you're only gonna get certain spots. And it's like, that's what you asked for. However, I do think it's pretty shitty how Hollywood just lumping all Asians in the same category. It's like, no, they have different accents. If you're gonna do that, at least specify completely where that person is from and what kind of accent and region they should be having. That's about it. Crazy.
Did you hear about the new Emily Blunt? Do you know Emily Blunt?
Yeah, the FatPhobic thing.
Did you hear about this controversy?
No.
Okay, so Emily, sorry, I was listening while you all were talking. I was trying to find this. So Emily Blunt was on this talk show 12 years ago. Let me see if I can find this this link because it's outstanding. She's talking about this experience where she went to this restaurant, and some people are upset that she used the word enormous when talking about a lady's size. So now it's all fat phobic, blah 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 blah. And some people are upset that she used a Southern accent, right? So this is something that happened like 12 years ago, and it's like it just kind of pops up, and like, who cares? It's so funny. And let me see if I can find this clip here. But she was on this show called the Jonathan Ross Show in 2012.
I actually love that show. I watched clips of it way back in the day.
So, yeah, I got this clip here. Let's actually see if we can show this. This is what people are upset about Emily Blunt for. So this is 12 years ago.
They were as big as proper burgers. You go to Chili's, you can see why so many of our
So she's talking about the host is talking about when you go to Chili's, you can see why people are fat.
friends enormous. I ordered a starter once and it was like 4 mini burgers and they were as big as proper burgers.
Well, the girl who was serving me was enormous. You know, I think she got freebie meals at Chili's.
Nothing wrong with that.
And she comes up and she goes, "Did anyone ever tell you you look a lot like Emily Blunt?" And I said, "I heard that, yes." And she went, "Are you Emily Blunt?" And I went, "Yeah." And she went, "What are y'all doing here?"
What are y'all doing here? Which is exactly how we speak in the South.
Her Southern accent wasn't that bad.
I agree.
That's
pretty good.
I agree. I was like, why are people upset?
What she said. I don't know.
Of course you don't, because you have common sense, Blabs. Because you're not looking to be upset about the most random bullshit things on the internet, right? That's what makes you a part of this show, which is great. Oh my gosh, it's insane. Anyways, so good luck to this voice actor man and this YouTuber in finding roles that are not that are outside of his race. I guess I don't know. The whole thing's dumb. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. Sounds great. Kyle came in with the $4.99. Says, if I'm not mistaken, didn't NWA and Ice-T cause the music industry to have ratings around the same time as Mortal Kombat did to the gaming industry? And Kyle, the answer is yes. Yes, they were banning NWA back in the day, and that made you know what it did? It made NWA that much cooler back in the day, for sure. Matthew came in with the $10 super chat. Says, NetherRealm Mortal Kombat creators are owned by Warner Brothers. Or by Warner Brothers. DC characters are really easy for them to get. Joker in Mortal Kombat 11 was originally supposed to be Ash Williams from the Evil Dead series. Okay, cool. Well, thank you. And shut up, phone. Thank you, Matthew. Appreciate that. Peter says, I saw Robert Patrick, the T1000 guy at my local con. He was a funny guy, and he even faced a time, maybe FaceTimed a prop guy he worked with mid Q&A.
Oh yeah, cool.
Am I
I think
misreading
it's
that?
FaceTime.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Thank you, Peter. Really appreciate that. And
I got a
Chris,
couple Rumble rants after that.
sure. Chris came in and says, feels like a wants it both ways situation where he wants to voice characters outside of ethnicity, but wouldn't be okay if white voice actors did similar. Which
True.
yes, very much. Thank you very much,
Rules
Chris.
for thee, but none for me.
Mm-hmm. John came in with the 5. Says Phil Lamar is a black man and is my favorite voice actor, and has done many different races of characters. Example, he did Samurai Jack. Thank you, John. Appreciate that. Like, isn't that the idea of acting, right? Like
To be someone else? Yeah.
yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. Yes, and you are correct, Conan. I am illiterate. Congratulations. Blabs, you said we have some Rumble rants.
Yeah, we do. So first off, from Dude for Dollars, his Joker was in Mortal Kombat 11 DLC. Mortal Kombat is owned by Warner Brothers, which also owns DC. So any DC characters would be easy to get in. Oh, I didn't know Mortal Kombat was owned by DC. Cool. Sub-Zero, Scorpion, and Raiden are put in the DC Injustice games. So easy for licensing. I didn't know they were owned by Warner Brothers, so that helps. And then Cryptid came in for $5 and says, as a non-Korean Asian, I want to play Kim Jong-un. I can't be a fat dictator with an effed up haircut while my people starve. Okay.
All right. Thanks, Cryptic.
And then Bentley Guy came in for $5 and said, speaking of Southern accents, I'm 35 and still use dadgummit in my vocabulary. I'd be curious if anyone else uses the phrase fixing to and know the meaning to it.
Oh, yeah.
What's the meaning to that?
Shane, I'm sorry.
Like planning to.
Yeah.
Like it's fixing to rain.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah. Like it's
about to rain.
Yeah. Fixing to do something. Yeah. And by the way, it's not fixing, it's fixin with an apostrophe at the after the end. Yeah. So, but Shane, you know that already.
But I mean, he didn't. He wrote FIXING apostrophe.
Yeah, but Shane's just being nice to all the non-Southerners out there.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah,
you know, it's funny because like in Australia, they say "How you going" when they mean to say "How you doing," and I'm like, "What do you mean? How am I going? Where am I going to?" I don't understand.
How you
it's
going?
Like the same thing in here.
Yeah.
How you going? I don't know. Where?
Fixing to, like, when it comes to Southern dialect, there's fixing to, fixing to y'all. You know, there's so much. Man, fixing's a big one. Y'all. Golly, there's so many words that I say on a day-to-day basis that just don't. That if you were to go to the Northeast, nobody would have any idea what I'm saying. You know, like, how do you not know fixing to, Blabs? Like, you never heard fixing to? You know,
No.
I'm fixing to do something.
Yeah, I'm gonna go do something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's fixing.
Why'd you just say that? I'm gonna
fixing
go
to go to Walmart.
That doesn't make any sense.
It's more fun.
But it doesn't make any sense. Fixing to do something. Like, okay, you had an itch to do something? I don't understand.
Oh, there you go. See? Yeah, Dar Yonder. That's right. Dar Yonder over there. And I love this. Orthodox monks, great to see you. We have begun this this wonderful tradition of
about food.
The random movie quote of the day. It says, you should see the toast. I couldn't even get it through the door. It's from Uncle Buck, which is a great scene for that movie. Did y'all ever see Uncle Buck? No?
I've actually never seen it. And that's one that I should have seen because that is from my time.
One hundo, man. yes. That's great. He made a huge breakfast for his kids, and it's massive. And he's talking about the toast there.
Now I really need to see it. Oh my gosh. I'm obsessed with breakfast food. Sounds amazing.
It is. It's in her bio.
Yeah.
Best breakfast food, go.
Omelets and a side of pancakes.
Wow. What kind of omelet?
Probably sausage and cheddar, maybe with some onions and peppers if you're getting fancy.
Now we're talking. Do you do a whip? Like some people like sour cream on their omelets. Yeah. Okay. Good.
No. Just lots of butter, eggs, milk, and then all the fixins. There's another good Southern one for you. All the fixins.
Yep. There you go. See, Magic, I knew you were good people. That's good. Slaggin' Nanners came in with that too. Says, how about them Rangers took down them dirty Stros? That's right. Those Texas Rangers going to the World Series. No, that's not football, Blabs. It's baseball.
Shit.
Do you know anything besides Harry Potter?
Yes, I do. Every time you say Rangers, I think hockey, but apparently it's not hockey. So now I'm just so confused.
I mean, she has the enthusiasm though. Like that's half of the battle already.
Oh my god.
I'm trying here. I'm really trying. I thought you said football the other day.
Okay, all right. And then Blake says,
have balls, okay?
Blake says, Southerners are always fixing or wrecking something. That's right. We're fixing to do something, or I reckon I'm going to get this done. That's right. Thank you, Blake. Appreciate that. All right, let's go on. You know, we got time. Let's so I want to bypass some of the stories, and I actually want to get into Magick's story. This is probably the most important story we're going to talk about today. So for those of you guys just popping in, Desiree hanging out down there, Blabs is here, and for the first time, Magick Moonshot has joined us today. Magick has an interesting story, and I'd like for you to kind of give us a brief high-level rundown of your story and why it was relevant, about 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, whenever it was, why it's important to talk about it.
So I've always grown up playing video games. I started streaming and doing content creation about 7 years ago now. With Destiny was the first title I kind of worked with. I hopped around a bit when I went over to Mixer, which is kind of where I got to know Lady Desiree a little bit better, also through Guardian Con, which is now GCX, which is local to where I live. I'm in Florida as well. And after kind of going around to different games, I did Fortnite for a while, I did Apex Legends for a while, I went back to Destiny. But then when Halo Infinite was launching in 2021, almost exactly 2 years ago, I tried out the beta. Then they just had a couple of multiplayer maps, and it was just it felt good. It felt good to play Halo again. I had played Halo Reach way back in the day, like before I started content creation, but I've never really streamed or made any content around Halo. But I had been running community tournaments, or I would do like shows where I would bring in a content creator and I would cast their gameplay and interview them. I did that a lot with Fortnite and Apex. And so I had organized also just more like tournaments. And I had casted them myself as kind of just being the one person show, doing, the marketing, the rule set, building out Discords, registration, hosting the show, and then I would cast gameplay with all of that. So then when Halo Infinite was coming out, I was like, I really should, I should get back to casting. I wonder if I should try to get into Halo Infinite as a caster. And I literally just kind of said that like off the cuff on stream one day. And one of the viewers in my stream was like, well, I work with a Halo league, and if you want to come and try out casting, come on over. So, fast forward like a month, and I was volunteer casting my first Halo tournament in December.
This is right Halo Infinite?
Game. Yeah, right after the game had officially launched. So it'd be December of 2021.
Okay, so my first thought was like Halo, right? Halo hasn't done enough for me personally to bring me back in. What is it about Halo that brought you back in?
Well, for me, doing things like Destiny or Fortnite or any battle royale, there's like a very large like RNG factor. Or for me in Destiny, it's all about grinding for certain weapons, and Destiny doesn't really have a esports scene, as it were. I had actually done paid casts in Destiny that were just run as like a third party putting together an event through the custom browser. There's not really a setup for any sort of competitive multiplayer when it comes to Destiny. So Halo, obviously being much more rooted in esports and also like removing that random factor, that RNG factor, it just felt really, I want to say fresh, which is funny because it's such an older, like, iconic title, but to me it was refreshing, kind of getting into it, having never really invested in content or casting with the title before. It's just made for esports or for tournaments more than any other title I'd worked with.
Okay, so you get back into Halo and you start casting it, and do you start making a name for yourself?
Yeah, so I kind of slowly built up. There still is a Halo women's Discord community. So I, hopped in there. I introduced myself as a caster, which kind of piqued people's interest because there weren't very many women casters in Halo, like at all. And then I ended up casting a women's tournament in January of 2022. And the producer I worked with is LVT, was the producer of that tournament. And he even said before the tournament started, hey, if this goes well, we're always looking for more casters over on my Halo channel, which I didn't even know of. Like, I was still kind of learning how things worked in the Halo community. But outside of HCS, which is the Halo Championship Series, like the game titles, esports org, LVT was like the next largest Halo coverage, including HCS events. So they invited me over there. I started casting with LVT. And then fast forward to like this season, I was attending the HCS events. They would give us with LVT Halo backstage access, and we would do basically supplementary coverage of the main tournaments. So it'd be the same, pro players and pro teams, but we would cover matches that like the main broadcast wasn't covering, for example. And so that's kind of where things just kind of slowly like built up to. I hired a casting coach for several months. We worked together about once a week to kind of fine tune and improve. I had a duo I locked in with. We would practice and get reps together to improve our broadcasting, our casting as a duo. And so we just put literally thousands of hours into trying to be the best Halo caster that I could be.
So you get into casting, you join this women's Halo Discord. About how many members is in this Discord that you're a part of?
That's a good question. I know it's in the hundreds. I couldn't tell you really off the top of my head. I would look it up, but they removed me from the Discord because of things that happened 6 weeks ago.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So apparently I'm no longer included in the Women of Halo Discord, but I think it's in like the mid hundreds of members. If I had to pick a number, I'd say like 400, but I don't actually know. Okay.
So let's get into what happened about 6 weeks ago.
Sure.
You post this Twitter post here. And this goes up, and I'll let you read this in your own voice as opposed to me reading it.
Sure. This is September 12th, so just over a month ago. I'm building out channels in my Discord for the ladies' scrims on Saturday. I love and value all people, and as a Christian, I believe God created people in his image as male and female, Genesis 5:1-2. Therefore, I will not be allowing trans players to participate. And that was in reference to earlier that week, I had announced I was hosting Halo scrims for women on Saturday. So this was kind of a follow-up post to that announcement.
Okay, so you go in, you say you're going to allow women to, you just want no trans people, just biological women. I guess we have to use the term biological now. I don't know. And then what happens? What is the result 10 minutes after you post this, an hour after you post this, a day after you post this?
Could you pull it up again, Craig, if you don't mind? I'm trying to remember the timestamp of it because I think it was in the evening, but I don't know if it even shows the timestamp anymore. It was probably maybe 9 or 10 p.m. or something.
Over September 12th, it'll tell you the time.
Oh, thank you. I'm learning something.
9:18,
I'm really trying to remember. Okay. So I knew I posted it in the evening. And prior to posting this tweet, like I know the Women of Halo community fairly well from doing multiple tournaments and events, et cetera, et cetera. Not exclusively. Like I also did HCS coverage, so it wasn't only women's events that I worked on. But I knew there were some transgender women who would normally participate, and moving this event into my own Discord, I didn't feel comfortable putting the Discord tag of like Halo woman or Lady Spartan, I think is what I was going to make it. I didn't feel comfortable putting that tag on someone that I did not consider a woman. That's really where, like, to me, the line was drawn. I was like, I can't bring people into my Discord and like label them as a woman or as a lady when I don't consider a transgender woman to be a woman. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of the thinking behind making that post. If I could go back, would I reword it? Sure. Would I change my position? Absolutely not. But I might change how I had worded it, just from learning more. And I knew there would be some like people that would not be happy with that decision. I knew there'd be some backlash, but I had no idea that it would like blow up the internet. It went absolutely global. I think it has 4.5 million impressions or something at this point. But most of it happened the following day. So there was a little bit that happened that first evening, but I literally turned off my phone, like walked away, went to bed, and then had to deal with all of the backlash the following day was really when the the storm kind of broke loose.
Was there an account that retweeted it or responded that kind of signal boosted it? Because, you know, that's what happens here is sometimes people will say something, you know, you have 5,000 followers, right?
Sure.
You have 5,000 followers and that's a good number of folks, but it's not enough to have 5 million impressions of a, you know, it needs to be signal boosted. Was there a singular account that quote tweeted it or retweeted it and said, no, get him or get her?
I don't know that there was an account that retweeted it that really sent it out to the masses, but I was fairly well known within the Halo community. So it started there where people started to like, most of it was responses to the original post that ended up getting a lot of attention as opposed to retweets. But again, it ended up that following day being so much that like, Craig, I literally could not keep up with it. I could not physically read every comment or retweet. So it kind of went everywhere, but I think from my best knowledge, it started with replies to the thread. So it was like one of the most notable women in the Halo community commented speaking like, how can you be against, and I quote, our sisters in this position? And then it was the community manager of Halo, Unishek, replied to it, kind of condemning that I wasn't being inclusive or this isn't what Halo is about, etc. So there was a lot of like the big names of the Halo community that replied. So there's a word I'm looking for. I can't think of it. Kind of condemning, I guess, that stance.
Or virtue signaling.
Sure. But we're basically very openly saying that you're wrong to have this position. This isn't what Halo is about. This isn't what gaming is about. And then from there, it was like, it kind of ended up being part of the whole like broader transgender argument. And I think that's when it really took off. So it started with the Halo community. And then at whatever point, I don't know, everyone on every side of the transgender discussion had something to say about it.
So I think a natural question, and I always like to be like really transparent when talking about this stuff. So like, what are your, like, I don't know if I can say this any more clear. Do you hate trans people?
No, I've interacted with several transgender people, and I mean, I would go so far as to call them friends. Like, we gamed together, we had conversations together, and you know what, most of it was online just because that's, you know, where I interact with people mostly, but some of it was in person. Like back in December, there were several of us who had December birthdays, and we all got together and did like a Halo customs, you know, game night or whatever, including one transgender friend of mine. Like, it wasn't a I'm against transgender people stance. It was, I don't view transgender women as women. That's literally it. So I still believe transgender people deserve kindness and compassion and common etiquette and all of that. I don't condone any attack or harassment towards transgender people whatsoever.
Right. So, but they felt by you not including them, that was an attack on them.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Which is you hurt their feelings by not including them, and now they were upset. And so your notifications go off, right? And just to recap, so you're saying publicly you don't hate trans people, you have no problem with trans people. All you are looking to do, and correct me if I'm wrong, you can tell me if I'm putting words in your mouth, but it seems like you wanted a place for women, biological women, for a place to compete with other biological women, and that's it.
Yep. That's exactly right. It was in my mind, it was pretty simple, and I knew that people would be hurt or maybe offended, which wasn't like my objective behind it. Some people really did go far as to credit my whole career in Halo Infinite as some maniacal, diabolical scheme to build up to this point, and that I was like out to get them. And this whole time I was just playing along to build my platform so that I could take this position and like ruin everything or whatever. I don't know. There have been people that have said that this was the plan all along. And in my mind, it was much more simple than that. I want to run a women's event, and if it's in my Discord, it's not sponsored, it's run by myself, then I'm already, people talk about how I'm being non-inclusive. I'm already excluding all of men. So I'm just putting transgender women in the same category. So if you want to say I'm being exclusive to transgender women the same way I am to every male in the community.
So what if, and believe me, this is just a big what if you were to do a women's scrim, and then you were to do a men's scrim, and then you were to do a trans person. I guess you do a trans woman and a trans man scrim, or a trans man. Do you think that would have had a different effect had you announced that you're going to do a separate trans scrim, or do you think that it's at this point just the toothpaste is out of the tube?
Well, I don't think it would make any impact now, if that's what you're asking. If it had made a difference at the time, the very practical sense of it, like as a tournament organizer, is that there's not enough transgender players to have their own event. I did go on later to clarify that transgender men who are born women would have been allowed to participate, but I literally don't know of any within the Halo community that are, biological women who identify as men, but I would have allowed them to play, because I later made a clarifying tweet and kind of spelled out, here's what my intention behind all of it was after it blew up. And I did use the phrase, biological women, because apparently that's, the terminology that people are going to actually understand. Right.
So people get upset, and then you have this guy over here, Condi TV, flags a couple of your sponsors over here, and says one of the creators you're working with seems to think dividing people is the right thing to do, which, pointing out something you just pointed out, you already had divided people, male and female, right? So, so they wanted to do. So you are then dropped by Advanced GG, which is what type of brand? What is this?
It's an energy drink company, so similar field to like G Fuel.
Okay, and a Gamer Advantage
that
is what?
You worked for too at some point.
Yeah, Desiree actually was I worked as a partnership manager for Advanced GG for 2 years. So I was partnered with them for a year. I worked for them for 2 years, and then I was continuing. So I had worked with Advanced GG in a total for 5 years and 2 years as an employee for Advanced GG. So that one was a little bit more like that was a very established relationship.
So you're telling me that they knew you personally.
Yeah.
They had interacted with you on a day-to-day basis, and by you putting this tweet out and having your stance, they ended that relationship. Even though they know you personally, they valued a relationship for multiple years, and they just cut it off because one guy with a less than 1,000 followers came in and said, you need to end this relationship.
Well, I think it's more than one voice. I mean, maybe it was one person, but there were several people that tagged, because I had 4 groups in my bio, 4 orgs that I worked with. So 2 partnerships that I worked with, Advanced GG and Gamer Advantage, and then LVT Halo, who I casted with, and Status Quo, who I was a community manager for. So those 4 were in my bio, and I think that they were getting several, from what I've heard, it was, maybe one person tagged them, but they're getting DMs on Twitter, on Discord, and people that are upset that, I'm sure, I don't have proof of this, I'm sure that there were Advanced GG partners DMing their partnership managers and saying, if you work with Magic Moonshot, I will no longer be partnered with you. Because I just know how this industry works, and that's how it works. So it's not always what you're going to see a person with 1,000 followers tagging. It's going to be, a lot of times, it's behind the scenes stuff where people are giving an ultimatum to these companies. Which,
Can I just
please
say something? Magic Moonshot is such a lovely person. Everyone loved her. And this was the moment where I feel like my blood pressure is rising right now. Like when I saw the responses, because I know these people and I know that they know how lovely she is, I about lost it. Like it made me so upset, and seeing so many people tag and come after. I'm just so tired of people coming after people's livelihood. I think that is the crappiest thing you can do. That is so beyond. I have other words I won't say, but I just think it's really, really crappy. And I'm so tired of these companies bowing down to these little people who just like get off on trying to ruin people's livelihood. I'm sorry. You know what? Don't check Twitter for the day if your phone's blowing up. You know, when will people learn? Sorry, I'm ranting right now, but
go, Des, go.
Because I get so defensive. It's just like, one thing it has with me, but it has with my friends. I get so upset. You know, I'm sorry. Just don't look at your phone for the next day or two and just ignore all your DMs, because guess what? Not everyone's going to go leave. You know, just ignore it. It's that simple. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
I love you, Des.
I love you.
I think it's the reactionary aspect is kind of what you're referencing as well. So like when it was Advanced GG in particular, having a 5-year relationship, 2 years as an employee of the company, the fact that they weren't willing to have a conversation with me, and it was a very reactionary response to just, you know, remove me. I think that's, to me, that's kind of where I draw the line, that I didn't even earn enough respect or value to have that conversation, which I will say, I'm obviously not going to share like behind the scenes conversations, but I will say that like with Status Quo, who I worked as a community manager, before they made a decision, they had 2 conversations with me. So it was a much more like where there was respect given and shown in that situation.
Okay. So that's the only company that you worked with that reached out to you. So the other companies just severed their ties with you without even reaching out to you.
They would send me like DMs either on Twitter or Discord and just like let me know like, hey, we decided to end, you know, this relationship or end this partnership or stop working with you, etc. But as far as like an actual verbal conversation or dialogue, that never happened.
But it was never like, hey, can you walk me through your thought process here? They never
Correct.
actually, they just pretty much said, yeah, we're out. And that's pretty much how it went.
Only Flame Sword, who is the owner CEO of Status Quo, he's the one that reached out with some level of concern and also, hey, can we talk before going to a decision?
So you had people reaching out to your sponsors, the people you've worked with, trying to end those relationships, and they did successfully. What about the people who reached out to you privately and showed support for you? Was there a lot of people who did that, or was it mostly, how dare you, you horrible, wretched beast?
It was pretty much every single type of interaction that you could imagine was part of it. So I stopped responding to replies or comments on the original thread, but I did still keep up with DMs because I figured people are going to go the extra effort to send me a private message. Obviously, I didn't respond to all of them. If they were death threats, then I would just report them and then block and then delete, which was several. So there were several really ugly, hateful, even threatening comments, but there was a really huge wave of supportive comments. Mostly those were in DMs. So I would say, I didn't count it, but I would say over 100 people reached out to me in DMs saying like, you know, stand your ground, like you're so proud of you. Some of them coming from Christian backgrounds, right? Because I was open about being a Christian in that position, but not all of them. Some of them even saying like, hey, I'm not a Christian, but I agree with you that, you know, if you want to do a women's only event, you should have the right to keep it women only. Or some people saying, I disagree with you on your position for transgender women. I think you should include them, but it's your event, so you have the right to run it the way that you want. So honestly, those ones in some cases meant the most. People that were willing to say, I don't agree with you, but it's your event. You should be able to say what you want or run it the way that you want to.
So how many death threats do you think you received?
Not like
5, 10?
I tried to remove them from my mind, but it was probably a dozen.
Okay. And you received, you said probably about 100 DMs of support. How many DMs of outside of the death threats?
Yeah, like just negative?
Yeah, just negative did you receive?
Not as many as the supportive comments, so maybe like 20 to 50, something like that.
So
people who were attacking me would do it publicly because they were getting clout for it.
Right,
I mean, that's really what it is.
Okay, so you have all the, and I think that's where the issue lies here. And there's a major issue here is that people are afraid to support you publicly.
Sure.
But they will do it privately. Why do you think that is?
Because they saw how I was treated for having my own personal, convictions and standing my own ground. And a lot of people would say that. They would say, like, hey, I'm a Christian and I have been too scared to take a stance on any of this, but I really respect that you were able to, and it's really inspiring to me. So, you know, that's paraphrasing because this was a repeated sentiment over and over. Like, I've been too afraid to speak out, but like, you know, I'm really proud of you, or this is really brave, or you're really inspiring, or this is great. A lot of people sending prayers, which I could physically feel the difference from the prayers that were coming in, and a lot of like encouraging Bible verses and all of it. But it was this overarching theme of either I don't want to speak to this publicly because it's just going to stir things up, or it's not going to be, you know, it's not going to be helpful, or I'm too afraid to speak up because, I mean, look, you lost all your sponsors, you know, from holding one position. So there's still a lot of fear.
And this is a question for all y'all, ladies. Do you feel that, number one, as women, do you feel safe in this space to speak your mind? And so let's start there. Do you feel safe to speak your mind in this space?
Yeah.
Des?
Now that I have already been canceled, I feel extremely free, and it's so nice. And so yes, now, but I definitely didn't before that happened. And I think Blabs, you're kind of already, you know, you already had the podcast, so you're already kind of out with a lot of your positions too. But it's hard when you don't start off like that and you start out in a gaming community. And then you feel like this, like, oh my goodness, walking on eggshells because the cancel mob is so prevalent, especially like Magic Moonshot and I both came up in the Destiny community, and they are very, very so quick to cancel. So we know it's a lot of the same people that were responding. That a lot of them were on Halo too, but a lot of them were from the Destiny community. So yeah, I mean, now I do. But now, I mean, I still get a little like, you know, nervous about how I say stuff because it's, you know, it's hard to communicate stuff over Twitter. You want to be able to say it in the way that you mean it. And the thing is that people are always looking at tweets ready to be offended. So things can be so misconstrued. So I'm always a little conscientious of that, but definitely much better now than I used to be 100 times.
Magic?
I would say there was a level of fear, but at the end of the day, like, at the end of the day, I had to like make a decision if I'm going to, like, people knew I was a Christian. I was very open about that. And people are fine with that as long as you don't act too much like a Christian. Like, they're fine with you saying that you're a Christian when it means all the things that make you easier to get along with and, you know, compassionate or hardworking. But as soon as it's something that is divisive, that's when it blows up. So I think that I agree with Desiree. I feel more free now, but I did know, like, kind of going into this, that I kind of felt like I had this cloud of expectation that was over me, and I wasn't willing to be dishonest to like myself and my beliefs in order to live up to what I thought was what people expected. So at some point I had more motivation to like stand my ground than to like cave to that fear.
Do you feel, do you women feel like women's spaces are being erased by this movement that's happening right now?
Yes, I do. I think that when it comes to transgender women in women's spaces, I think that esports is one of the last fronts of that because, you know, like compared to traditional sports, let's say, because that's what I grew up in. Traditional sports, I used to be an athletic director, etc. I think it's a much greater concern in traditional sports because of the physical differences, right, between males and females. But I think that it does also apply to gaming and esports. There are still differences, and you know that this is the space I am in, so I think that it does need to be addressed here because I mean, there was a tournament over this weekend where it was a co-ed tournament. I was supposed to be casting it, but they took me off of the cast, and so it was a co-ed two men, 2 women, but they were allowing transgender women, and out of the top 5 teams, 2 of them had transgender women on the team. So I think that there are spaces, even within Halo, even within video games, that opportunities are being taken away from real women because of transgender women in those spots.
Des?
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I mean, Magic Moonshot is more versed in knowing the gaming industry, but I mean, yeah, we see that all over the news.
I think, Blabs, your thoughts on this?
I would have to say that it's a lot more prevalent in physical sports because of the actual differences between men and women. I wouldn't really say it's a huge thing in gaming because it's not a physical sport. However, as Magic was saying, it does take away a spot from a female who could have been on that, and that's where I have the issue with it. And like you would, or someone wouldn't be able to compete against men because they're just not that good enough at that level, and so that's why you'd make a female-only game or team, I would say. But I don't know. I feel like there's so many layers to it for gaming in itself about like who can play and who cannot play because it's not a physical sport. But like I said, if you're taking away a spot from someone who deserves to be there, that's when it's like, that's not cool. That woman could have gone in there and played it, and you are not actually female, and that is a fact. You can't change that. So, and I don't know why people get butthurt over that, but yeah.
What do you say to somebody who is a male and then they say, well, I'm a trans female, and they say, no, I am a female? How do you as women respond to that?
You sit on a throne of lies.
Des?
I mean, I don't know if I've ever had that happen in person. I mean, if it was somebody I knew, I would try and be as diplomatic and kind about it as possible. That's what you identify as, and okay, but that doesn't mean that has to be how I perceive it.
Do you feel like that it cheapens like the idea of what a woman is? Because what I mean by that is they're never going to have a period. They're never going to have children. They're never going to go through the things that you go through as a woman, right? Does that offend you at all?
Yeah. I mean, it's the opposite of feminism, which is, I mean, it's so weird that the feminists have like embraced this. It's so bizarre to me because it's very insulting. I mean, you're never going to be able to experience what it's like to be a female. You can get surgeries and yeah. Right.
I just think it's funny how like these massive feminists out there like Emma Watson, who's like, yeah, women's rights, but then she's all about the trans rights. And I'm like, well, you can't have both. You really can't, because if you want to have safe space for women or safe space for men, they are different. It should be equal, that if there's a safe space for a woman, there should be a safe space for a man, of course. But yeah, you can't have both. And it's like a biological fact. You are not female. You'll never be able to be female. I'm sorry, but that is it. And it's the same way for men too. So if a trans female is going up to a guy, he's like, I am a man. It's like, you're insulting me of all the stuff that, men have done in the history of time, just like women. I just find it very insulting when people are like, this is the truth. No, that is your truth, not the truth. There's a huge difference.
Magic?
Yeah, I do find it insulting that these men think that they can play the part. We talked about actors before playing a part, and I think that they're trying to put on what they see as being a woman, but it's not the same as what we experience as women on a day-to-day basis. I mean, I'm 6 months pregnant, okay? So I guess I have one of the more full experiences of what being a woman involves. And this is my third, and it's just, you can't just use words, or I would even go so far as to use hormones or surgeries and then just become something that you're not. You can change everything about yourself, and it doesn't make you a woman. And I think it is insulting because in a lot of ways it's very minimizing to what we as women go through, on a day-to-day, or, you could even take it back to the monthly struggles that we go through as women. I think it minimizes that to kind of just play along with this act of men.
Do you feel like that's what these companies are doing, is they're just playing along? Because I mean, you like, I've had people reach out to me this show is about common sense, right? And people will say, well, that's a right-wing thing. No. Like I said, I've never been political in my entire life. I've been very centrist. I would say I'm actually pretty left from a social perspective, and I'd say I lean right from a monetary perspective, right? So I'm pretty right in the middle of this. But people say, oh, people have accused me of going off the deep end, right? They're saying, oh, he's gone off the deep end, and it's like I'm the exact same person, right? As if you would have talked to me 10 years ago, I could have pointed that person and said, well, that's a dude. And I could point at that person and say, well, that's a girl. And now the same people who say that I've gone off the deep end can't do that. And they say, well, I don't want to misgender. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. The way I see it is that you're doing them a disservice by being dishonest to them, right? You are lying. You're perpetuating their lie. And you're not being honest with them. And I think the best thing a friend can do is be honest with somebody. Now, if you're an adult, you fucking go crazy. You be as crazy as you want to be. Now, I still have the right to have my opinions about you, but you do you. That's fine. Where my line is, and we've talked about this many times, is obviously with children. And I think that's also something to talk about in the gaming space as a whole. I mean, there are a lot of kids who play these games, and kids today are being exposed to so much more than when we were kids, so much more, and they're being assaulted and bombarded by this ideology, which is when brands drop a woman for wanting to prop up other women, I feel like that sends a horrible message. Des, Magic, anything? What's that?
No.
It was awful, actually. But I actually have a bit of a question for you. What if a trans woman, or would it be a trans man? I'm not really sure. A biological woman who now identifies as a man, I'm not really sure what you're going to call it, comes up to you, Craig, and says, I'm also a man. I deserve to be in your space. I am just like you. How do you react?
If a woman came up to me and who says she's a man,
yes,
right? And she says she deserves to be in my place. What place are we in?
She's just like you, like a gaming space or anything. She's just like you. It's basically, I'm just swapping the question you asked.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I would say, sure, and then I would immediately challenge it, depending on the situation that we're in. If we're playing basketball, I go to the low post and say, "Mouse in the house, let's go." And I'm posting up. It means I'm posting her up, right? I'm posting her up. I'm going to drop 20. That's what it means.
It means that he's going to take advantage of the fact that he's a biological male, and so he's going to use that advantage to
I'm going to use my strength, my height, my bone density.
Yes.
Like I'm going to use all the I would absolutely exploit it, 100%. In whatever situation that it's in. The reality is that you don't see that. And that's the thing about this situation, is that it's very much a one-way road. It's dudes who say they're girls, right?
Yeah, because they have the advantage as like an athletes. They are bigger, so they go to the women's, and then Leah Thompson, they can dominate. But that's and then I guess that kind of opens up a very interesting question, which I don't know if you want to get too much into, but like the differences that are present within gaming between males and females. And I guess that could be pretty controversial, but I'd be kind of curious, actually, the data on that, like, fine motor skills. Well, I mean, I'm sure there is some data. I don't think a lot of women probably want to admit to it, but but there's also some stuff though where I think women are probably better at men. And actually, Moonshot and I talked about this over the phone after this happened to her, because I do think it's an interesting topic. And I don't feel threatened to talk about it. Why does everybody have to always feel so threatened? It's like we're always in a state of like competing and feeling threatened and wanting to be offended. Like, who cares? If someone doesn't mean that you still can't be great. You could still be an outlier even in your group. Anyway. I just
Actually,
No,
I want the
I think
data
that's-
on that. That'd be interesting.
But-
I mean, I know a
but
little
you-
bit about it, but
Yeah,
Sorry,
Magic,
go
go ahead. What is the data that you know?
so I think that the best way to summarize it is that the data is inconclusive. There are some studies that show that reaction times or competitive drive do make biological men better at video games, but there are others that say that kind of like Desiree referenced, there are, abilities that women have. Let's say, communication, call out, teamwork, and, less egoing. I don't know. That could also play into it. So there are other studies that say when it comes to, the mental aspects of esports, that it's a level playing field. And so I would say inconclusive. And I have to do more research on that point specifically. But where I got to personally was the point that even if everything was equal on a competitive sense, women still deserve to have women's only spaces, because there are so many cultural differences when it comes to what women face within gaming and esports. And I don't think that should be minimized by now letting men into those spaces. So I guess that's where I kind of summarize it. Even if everything was equal, which I'm not convinced either way, I still think that women deserve to have their own space. So transgender competitors, yeah, they have the right to compete and play video games just like anybody does. But I think that there still is a reason to have a space that's only for women.
I think when it comes to the gaming space as a whole and any sort of competitive environment, if you're not bringing the best players in to be a part of your organization, whether it's a team, whether it's a basketball team, whether you're playing Halo, you're doing your team a disservice, right? I don't care if they're man, woman, dog, cat, alien, right? If they're excellent at playing Halo, they should be on your team, or you should do your best to get them on your team. I could care less. Now, Magic, you said something that I feel like people are really gun shy to talk about, is that the idea that there should be spaces for men and there should be spaces for women, because as you said, they are different. They're different. Men go through different things that women go through. We biologically are different than women. We don't, and from a competitive standpoint, I think that's a totally separate thing, right? But there absolutely should be spaces for men to go to, and there should be absolutely should be spaces for women to go to, and to congregate and be around with each other, and to have people to relate to, because that's why you do these things. You relate to people who are like you, who have the same interests, and are going through the same struggles, right? I was talking to a friend just yesterday, and he said, "Look, hey, my wife had a baby. She's going through some stuff. She's going through the postpartum. You as a husband, how did it go for you? What kind of tips can you give me?" Guess who can't give that? A woman can't give those tips to another husband, right? Like, these are things that like a man speaks to another man about, right? Just as that woman would go and she'd talk to her friends and say, like, what's going through, what am I going through right now, right? Or talk to me about giving birth to a child, or whatever it may be. Like, these are things that are almost like taboo to discuss, and really makes me question literally everything about society these days, that we are so controlled by social media, Instagram, TikTok, X, go down the line, that these brands they may, these brands feel like they may get a little bit of pushback, or they may get DMs from people saying, if this person isn't involved, then I can't be involved. And ultimately what you see is that if they would have just let the dust settle, everything would have been fine. Something else is going to happen to distract these people, right? And everything's going to move on, and everyone's going to be fine, and no one's going to consider. And you may have a troll or two in your comments in a month that says, that can't get past things, and that's fine. But it is what it is. And the reality is that most of the time, we just move past this stuff. And there's always the next distraction that people are going to be upset about. If it's not Harry Potter, it's Magic Moonshot. If it's not Magic Moonshot, it's whatever. Go down the line. There's always going to be something else for people to complain about, and that's the reality of it. So, Magic, do you feel like had had you just left it alone and not responded to anything, and obviously you didn't apologize, how important was it for you not to apologize?
I mean, like, how important was it personally for me to not apologize? I think it's very important because it was definitely like, it was a point of a crossroad. Whether I decided that was the point of a crossroads or not, it was, right? And so I went back to several people to get advice, counsel, Desiree being one of them, talking to her and getting feedback from her, and then several other people that I had conversations with to be like, okay. And I mean, I straight up asked Desiree this, like what do I do next? Like what now? Like, I felt very lost. So I took a few days to kind of absorb what was going on, to get good feedback. And, everybody that I trusted, that were people that really truly wanted the best for me, said, like, stand your ground, because, if you back down now, then it was all for nothing, basically. So I think it was important for me to make a clarifying statement, but I did, and people were like, oh, she just doubled down, this isn't an apology at all. And I was like, oh, they get it, because that's exactly what it was. It was not an apology post, and it wasn't intended to be that. It was a clarification post. I think that was, for me, I think it was personally very important, because I wasn't going to be shaken by threats or by losing opportunities. That's not stronger than what my foundation is.
When you made the post, did you feel like you were going to lose sponsors? I
knew it was a possibility, but I didn't expect the backlash to the extent that it hit. But I knew it was possible, yeah.
Do you feel like the backlash that you received was from I'm sure it felt like a massive wave, right? You're getting hit and bombarded. You said yourself you couldn't even keep up with the comments.
Right.
But do you feel like it was from a very vocal minority, or do you feel like it was from the majority of people? Which I want to preface this in that when you look at your post and it has 4.6 million impressions, right? And of that 4.6 million impressions, there's 3,000 hearts, 4,500 comments. Probably most of those people probably were saying what a horrible person you are for saying that, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you feel like this is just a vocal minority that is very, very loud and screaming, or do you feel like this is the majority of the opinion?
I think it is the vocal minority. I do, because again, the numbers of DMs were very vastly supportive. One of the crazy things was initially, I lost a bunch of Twitter followers, right? Like I lost, 150 or something like that. But then I more than regained that, which I don't really care about my Twitter follower count. That's not the point. But I think that I think that statistics they help tell a story, right? That's why I use stats when I'm casting. I think they help to tell a story. And so when I regained and then over and above what I had lost, I think that told the story of the people that are speaking out against me. For the majority of them weren't even following me. The majority of the people that were the most angry at me, I have no idea who they are. They have no idea who I am. They're speaking to make a point without any actual connection to me or my story. And those were some of the loudest voices. So I think that as far as like the majority of the minority, I mean, even if I just looked at Halo, I think that Halo is, a older title. I think that there are several common sense people within the Halo community that maybe aren't on Twitter or just don't see the value in, contributing to an argument or a discussion like that. So, but I do think that that Twitter kind of gives a false impression of where that percentage lies, because the people that were against me were the vocal minority.
I actually have a question for Magick. Before you were saying there was cultural differences for women in gaming. Can you elaborate?
Just in general for women in gaming, a lot of us share common experiences of if you ever use like comms with your teammates, there's almost always stories of some sort of harassment, abuse, and it can be at varying levels. It can be as minor as like, why are you playing this video game? Get back to the kitchen, or like, women don't play Halo, or it can be a lot more obviously aggressive with words I won't repeat on this podcast, where it's instantly name calling or accusing or, you know, degrading comments. And that is a very almost universal experience for women in gaming. It's very hard to find a woman in gaming, especially in something that's like a first-person shooter or a battle royale, like a combat-oriented team game. It's very hard to find a woman that hasn't experienced degrading, abusive, harassing comments at some point in time.
But don't you think that it's very similar to just guys shitting on guys also?
No,
I mean, like, oh, you know, I'm gonna, you know, go fuck your dad or whatever it is. Like, they have a lot of trash talk too. Like, I understand what you're saying because I've experienced that too. But I feel like that's also just trash talk in the lobbies.
But I think it's to a different level, honestly. So I think that there are males who would not trash talk other males, but they will if there's a female around. Like I think there's levels to it, and the commonality of the experience. I'm not saying that men don't trash talk each other or aren't, you know, degrading to one another. But I think that usually when it comes to men trash talking, for the most part, it's because of how you're playing in the game or not. But for women, it's almost instantaneous. It's just because if you speak with a female voice, you'll get instant hate. Like, you could be literally the top of the lobby, the best player, and still getting harassed. So it's not based off of your skill level or your performance in the game. It's based off of your gender.
I kind of agree, but I also don't. I've seen a lot of guys just shit all over each other all the time, too. So, I don't know. I feel like that's mixed.
Even if it's not, like, you don't know for sure the reason why, if you want a space where that's not happening, you know, that's what she's created.
Yeah.
So,
well, yeah, and girls trash talk other girls, right? Like,
yeah.
That exists too. So, like, the other side. So, yeah, there is always generic trash talking, harassment and stuff. I'm talking about specifically you're getting put down because you are a woman playing a video game. And so creating a space for women where, you know, at least you're not condemning someone because they are a woman in that space.
What do you say to people when they use words like bigot? You're a bigot, you're hateful for your post. Because I'm looking through the replies of like the quote tweets, and they say, this person's a bigot hiding behind her Christianity, right? And she's using her Christianity and her faith as a shield for her bigotry and her hatred.
So how do I respond to that, or how do I view that? Honestly, at some point, it's almost like the pot and the kettle, in a sense, where it's like you're the one that's on my thread about my event and my beliefs that's throwing around these names. So it's kind of I don't accept that. I don't accept that name as being. I think it's more telling of who is making that comment than it is telling of myself. I don't accept that. So I don't acknowledge that I am a bigot, even if, 5 million people were to call me that. I think that I need to judge my own heart and keep my own conscience clear. And I'm not claiming that I'm perfect and treat everybody perfectly. But for the most part, the angry people that are coming at me and calling me names, it's because of their own shortcomings and not me. They would do the same to anybody that was standing the ground that or holding a position that they didn't like.
I
just think they're wrong.
Do you feel like the idea? I personally feel, and I would love to hear y'all's thoughts on this. Let me preface that. I feel like there is immense irony in saying there's bigotry when all you were doing was providing a place for females to interact with each other, right? But that's just my thoughts on it. Do y'all feel like there's immense irony when somebody says, like, I'm looking at this, I can only assume young lady here, and she says, She says, bigotry has no place in our games industry and community. Full support and love for my trans friends and colleagues, right? And how I'm trying to do the mental gymnastics here to get around the idea of how they will label you these things built around this. And this is another woman. This is a woman who is calling you these things with pronouns in her bio. But I don't know. Just wrap me like as a woman. Do you ever just like want to shake other women and be like, what are you doing? Like, I just, it's upsetting to me as a man looking at a woman saying this about another woman. I don't know. Des, go ahead.
First of all, I know that Julie Elvin, and she's actually from my interaction, she's always been very sweet. I've always had a good impression of her. And I think it just goes to show that this is like what society has pushed. This is the nice way to act. You know, and earlier I forgot when you mentioned something about the kind way to respond. There's a difference between niceness and kindness. You know, being kind isn't just saying what people want to hear and rainbows and sunshine. Sometimes being kind is having to hear some harsh truths because you actually care about that person, you know, and you want the best for them. But like society is really gotten very warped right now with what they think is the nice thing to response and all of this. And it's like you see these little buzzwords and you see everyone creating a big hullabaloo about it on Twitter, and it's very easy to retweet it and like, yeah, bigotry has no place, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm sure that Julie didn't really think this all the way through. The comments, the people that really upset me on behalf of Magick were the people who actually knew her. And I felt like kind of jumped on board because I'm like, you totally know better. You know better. And you are just putting this out there so everybody can pat you on the back. And so you're putting you're saying, I'm doing my virtue signaling. You know, I get a check mark for the day. And that kind of stuff just really irritates me so much. But I think a lot of people just kind of go along because that's what you do now. I mean, people are weird. Like we are so driven by, you know, the society. And that's like, this wasn't a thing 5 years ago. This wasn't a thing. And so it's insane just how much is taken off and how quick people want to just pull out the pitchforks.
It does scare me how much women are willing to give up for the sake of being nice.
Oh, yeah.
And Desiree, you're talking about the people that actually like know me. And it was really interesting, the comments that people I've interacted with and that I've known, they don't have anything negative to say about how I treated them or how I interacted with them. Or most of them are saying, oh, I'm shocked, I'm disappointed. You know, I didn't see this coming, maybe reconsider. Like that was a very common feedback from people that I actually know. But none of them could ever come out and say like, oh, no surprise, you know? All of them were acting like shocked, which I don't really understand where their shock is coming from. But it does worry me for women specifically how easy it is for us to just appease modern culture for the sake of being seen and considered as nice. Being kind, absolutely. Being kind always. But why are we giving up truth in order to try to win social points? And it goes a lot deeper than that. We're giving up a lot more just for the sake of being considered one of the good guys, I guess.
And for like what 0.00001% of the population. It's kind of wild. And I would say if we're being bigots, then we're being bigots for not letting men play with us, because that affects more men than it would trans people, if anything. I don't know.
Let's go and finish up with some super chats here. And Magick, obviously, I appreciate your story, appreciate your journey and sharing it with us today. Des, I appreciate your insight and everything as well, since you're close to Magick and being a part of it. Xander came in, says, finished binging Side Scrollers 2023. What happened to the llama? Craig, did you play RoboCop? Hope you guys get on Nick Rekieta. Flying to Japan? Any reason, I guess? Not going to Japan. We'll be going to Florida at the tail end of November to go hang out with the Geeks and Gamers folks. Great. Going to go there for a few days. And Nick Rekieta is scheduled to be on the show for a one-on-one interview coming up in early November. So should be great. Orthodox Monks came back, says, tonight on Unsolved Mysteries, how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? Also, we find out what a real woman is, which is just such an amazing conversation. It's just like, wow, that some people, well, it's complicated. Okay, sure. The Rand Man came in with the 2, says, boo effing who, the 2 trans Halo players feel left out. Which I'm sure there's more than 2. But
honestly, maybe 3 or 4.
Oh,
Honest.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh.
All that for that? Wow.
Wow.
Perspective.
Well, then let me ask you this, Magick. Why even make the post? Like, why post it at all? And why don't you just, like, if someone was to reach out and be like, I want to compete, be like, oh, it's full. You know?
I wouldn't lie to somebody, you know? And to me, it was, again, it just went back to this, hey, this is in my Discord. And honestly, it felt disrespectful to the transgender players. Like, if there was one that was planning to play on Saturday and then they show up and I tell them last minute, oh, actually, you're not allowed. I felt like that would be disrespectful to them and their time instead of addressing it up front.
Okay. Hal came in with the 5, says, I love and accept you doesn't mean I'll pretend that you meet definitions that don't apply to you. People need to stop taking facts personally.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I've said this a bunch of times recently, but I think it is so true that I think compassion has absolutely been weaponized. And so it's just targeted women because we just tend to be so compassionate by nature, but I feel like it's become a weapon.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Compassion and fear. Those 2 things combined create what we're currently seeing, which is insanity. The Rand Man came in with the other 10. Thank you so much. The Rand Man says, F them. Glad you spoke the truth. They don't want acceptance. They want special treatment. Enjoy an omelet on me. Thanks, the Rand Man. Eggs are going up in price, just to give you a heads up. Darren came in and says, smash that that thumbs up button. Do it now. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Darren. Do it now. Let's hit that 300. If you haven't yet, would greatly appreciate that. Ferrier came in. Says, when you tear out one's tongue, you are not proving them a liar. You're only telling the world you fear what they say. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Ferrier. Appreciate that. And Sarah came in and says, Life of Brian, Loretta scene, called it. I've not seen that, but thank you so much, Sarah. Appreciate that. And Brandon came in with the 5. Says, when will companies realize this behavior makes them the laughing stock of the internet and that caving to the mob gets them nothing? Right. Well, there we go. Do we have any Rumble rants?
Rant for you real fast.
Great.
Bentley Guy came in for $5, says, that's right, congrats to your Rangers, Crag. Now we just need the D-backs to take down that D-bag named Bryce Harper. I consider him a talented turd of an athlete. And then, I don't know what that means, but yay. And then Duke came in and for $1 and says, the removal of pre- and post-game lobbies is what has ruined online gaming to me. No trash talking around the game has made people soft. Yeah. Depends. I mean, listen, I also agree with Magick saying that, you know, if someone's coming out there and be like, I'm going to grape you and all that stuff, it's like, wow, okay, that's extreme. Why would anyone want to say that? That's horrific. But also like, oh, you're shit. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. I'm okay with that. I do it all the time. Dude came in again for another $1 and says, back when I used to play Call of Duty, I would get trash talk because I was consistently at the top of a lobby. I would tell a woman to go back to the kitchen if she was trash talking me and I kicked her ass.
Okay.
And that is it for Rumble.
Do y'all feel like there's so there's a balance here, and I think there's actually, I got a group of women here, and I feel like it's important to ask these questions, right? From a male perspective, I feel like there's been an attack on being a man, right? There's this attack that like you can't be masculine. Masculinity is now seen as toxic, right? There's this toxic masculinity thing here. And do y'all feel like looking from the outside in, do y'all see that as well, or is that something that I as a man am seeing?
I agree.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. So this is not just a dude.
It's not just what being a woman is being attacked, but also, yeah, The strengths
Being
of
a
a
Should be a
man are
documentary
also
on
being
what is a
attacked
man.
for sure.
Okay, just curious, Okay, cool. Well, I think this is like a really good conversation. And Magick, I'm sorry that this happened to you, but I'm proud that you stood up. And I think that by more people standing up and more people not DMing you, but actually being public about it and having some balls and actually standing up for themselves and standing up for what they believe, all this could end really, really quickly. So, but thanks for coming on, Magick. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you. I do want to shout out, like, obviously Desiree, a big thanks to her for her support in some of the darkest times, but also Night Tide and Shadeless TV on Twitter, a couple of friends who were very vocal in support. So I don't want to give the impression that there was no one that was publicly supporting, because there were, and I'm very grateful.
Good, excellent. Everyone can go find Magick over on Twitter and obviously on Twitch. By the way, how's Twitch? Has Twitch said anything? Has Twitch come down and said, nah?
Twitch hasn't said anything, but I had trouble with my tip link wasn't working until I sent in a support request, and Streamlabs said that Streamlabs deleted me, basically. Streamlabs said I can't use their tip service anymore because I broke their terms of service. I don't know which terms of service or how they decided it, but Streamlabs did remove my tip link, was no longer operational. They sent me an email and said they didn't say banned, but I mean, that's basically what it was.
Wow.
So yeah.
These people will like go to crazy lengths.
I also made an account on Kick, so I can go hang out with Desiree over there, trying some things out as well. But yeah,
that's huge. Streamlabs, wow.
Yeah, man, I that really makes me rethink using Streamlabs. That's crazy.
I know that people reported me on Twitter because I guess it was somebody from I don't remember which European country it was. Forgive me. But apparently they have a law where they have to send an email when someone reports your Twitter account, your X account. So they sent me an email and said, hey, just so you know, you have been reported, and that's our legal responsibility to inform you. But after reviewing, we didn't find anything on your account that was actionable or something like that. I think it was Germany, actually. So they sent me an email that said somebody from Germany reported my Twitter account, and they didn't have anything that they saw was an issue. So, yeah.
Wow. I had no idea Streamlabs was like that. Like I said, I've been using Streamlabs for many years, and that's crazy. Wow, may need to rethink that. That's crazy. All right, go find Desiree over on Kick as well. Desiree, thank you so much for joining us today.
Always happy to come on. Y'all have been awesome. This has been a great group, and I hope you all will give Magick the love that y'all have shown me too, because it's really hard to rebuild, and you have to. All these people that you thought were your friends and supporters, just they're too afraid to stick around. Makes you really value the ones that do stick around. But I've appreciated all the new friends. I've gotten a lot of them from this group.
Did you, Magick? Did you see a bounce back of a swell of support when you got back to streaming? Were people in your corner? Did you see a uptick in donations, follows, etc.? After all the chaos?
So I I went ahead with the ladies night stream on Saturday, which was the tweet that caused all the chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that was going to be, I put like follower only mode on, I put slow chat on. I've never put any kind of moderation settings on my channel, but I did for that one. And it was one of the highest viewed streams I had all year. And somebody gifted like 100 subs or something that night. It was crazy. So I will say that the initial wave of support was very huge, and I would say that after probably about 3-4 weeks, it kind of trailed off. But which is fine. Like I wasn't, this wasn't a scheme. I wasn't grifting, which is what a lot of people were saying.
Right.
But that initial wave of support was very appreciative, especially during like the hardest of times. And now it's kind of tapered off, which is totally fine. I think it's a good chance for me to. Make that transition over to Kick potentially and kind of have a fresh start, rebuild. It's Moonshot Arcade over there if anyone has a Kick account, if you don't mind me giving a plug for that one.
Of course.
But Moonshot Arcade on Kick is where I'm looking to. I'll be streaming Halo tomorrow night. So I think it's a good time to wipe the slate and rebuild, because I still want to be here. I still have work to do.
Love that. All right, and if you want to be here, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. If you're just tuning in for the first time, we just passed 50,000 subscribers, closing in. We're one away from 50,200. So come join the party over here as we continue and we expand on common sense. Who'd have thought common sense is such a crazy idea in the video game space, a space that is built around insanity and crazy think. We are here to tell you, you're not crazy, and it's okay to think. There you go. With that said, guys, I'll be live over on the Side Scrollers Plays channel in just about an hour and 10 minutes with some Super Mario Wonder. I'm on level 5, and I'm having so much fun. And I'm going to take my time to play through it with you guys. So make sure you guys tune in over there. The link is down in the description. Appreciate everybody popping in. Once again, tomorrow we have Adam and Flawed on. Wednesdays is always great. Oil and Water Wednesdays, which is wonderful. And then on Thursday, we've got John Graham from RB and the Chief on the show. And then Friday, we're rejoined by Melanie Mack. So we look forward to seeing you guys then. I'll see you guys shortly on the Plays channel. And remember, people are going to try to keep you down. Don't let them. You guys got a goal. Go get it. Have a great day. And by the way, Xander says Streamlabs banned Nick Ricada too. Well, fuck. All right. Have a good day, guys. Bye-bye.
Beto.